Hello and welcome to another modelling video. This is Alan from the Makona Man at YouTube with another airbrush video. Reviewing and demonstrating the Bd 128p double action siphon fed airbrush. 2000 era Chinese manufactured. The one I'm in possession with was bundled for free with the Ozito air compressor, sold at Bunnings, a major hardware chain in Australia. This airbrush can be found again for free with many compressors or sets like the famous Aldi airbrush catalogue special, Harbour Freight in the United States, and many other very large companies around the world, very rarely being sold by itself. Contained in a Heising-esque plastic case, these are brittle and prone to cracking and chipping. The foam inserts protecting the lot contains 2 glass jars, one with a siphon attachment, a metal side-mounted siphon cup, a useless comedically large wrench. I honestly have no idea what it does or its purpose. Basic paperwork containing the specs, schematics, breakdown and parts list. Lastly, the siphon fed double action airbrush itself. Initially handling it, it feels thin, light and cheap. Shaking it around does produce a very concerning rattle, indicating very loose parts tolerances. It is commonly accepted that this is not a good airbrush. I'll demonstrate how to dismantle and showcase what can potentially go wrong and the fatal flaws in its use. Many buy these sets as it's a very affordable access to an air compressor, which are normally of decent quality and has a universal fitting that can take other airbrushes such as a gravity feed Heising or a name brand high-end brush. This in the past may have been manufactured to absolute excess and sitting in storage, or the cheapest option to manufacture and pair to much larger companies that don't care as much for the beginner's experience or general quality and artistic nature of airbrushing. The fittings and threads are very shallow and small, loose, which can allow air and liquids to pass. Excluding the needle nozzle and input thread, none of the parts are compatible with Heising, Iwata, Olympus models. Otherwise, the teardown is very straightforward. To give the best chance, I'll still correctly assemble and lubricate the working mechanisms to see if there's any chance to correct any of the tolerances. With petroleum jelly, I normally lubricate and lightly glaze the needle guiding rod, the inner sleeve that leads to the trigger, the air valve tip, and the internal back end of the brush itself. The air valve brass switch extrudes into the airbrush body itself, simply threads in and the trigger goes on top. Easy assembly but can clog if paint passes the packing nut. Trigger assembly is short and small and assembles exactly the same with the spring and sleeve. The tongue feeds through the body and exits the trigger hole, threading all the way through. It's smooth but still a very loose fit, and these parts with the trigger is the biggest culprit to the rattling. The needle easily passes through, which has no resistance around the needle packing nut. Previous airbrushes I've owned like this in the past decade generally leak at this point down the back of the airbrush after several uses or a few deep cleans. Take care that the trigger is the correct orientation for the needle to pass through and not to bend. The needle tip extrudes through the nozzle opening by 2 mm. Crown cap threads on without issue. The needle nut pinches the needle to the assembly end, which makes the trigger work with the open and close function. The rear housing threads on top of all that, protecting it. With decent tightness, sadly everything is still rattling internally as I tap and shake. There is a little screw adjacent to the trigger. Screwing it in, it will obstruct the trigger to the open position. This converts the airbrush to a single action. This can be adjusted to the right opening for fine lines or other shading works. The side cup siphon and bottle friction fits in the input without any issue. The inside of the jar has a Teflon O-ring and a fuel line like plastic hose. The lid is plastic and the body is glass. It is a bit heavy, which has concerns of falling out mid-spray. This is a typical siphon feed floor and not special to this particular model. It also freestands without a hose. Again, the air input is a standardized 1/8 inch threaded connector that's standard across the hobby industry and will work on almost all hobby and medium compressors. I'll be using this tankless compressor, which is typical to be bundled with the airbrush. Testing it, we'll be spraying a mediocre hobby lacquer paint, thinned with a standard automotive lacquer thinner found from a hardware or automotive store. It is reduced to a viscosity or consistency of water, where it will transparently cling to the side of the container. Opaque too thick, running down clear is too thin. A big advantage of siphon feed is if you don't mix the paint correctly, it's not going to sit as a lump at the bottom of the cup and block the passway of the airbrush main body. Quick test spray and it's all good. You will need to keep the container full at all times and spray at 90 degrees. Too high or low can expose the siphon to air, cutting off your paint supply. The side cup would handle less paint but is a spilling hazard. Immediately, it atomizes and sprays okay. Nothing too special, no spluttering. Standard to any cheap and middle airbrush I've used before. Being a gravity feed double action top down user, it does feel very awkward and the bottom jar does obstruct my work. I'm having a lot of trouble getting close enough to the paper to spray very small, thin and fine lines. Otherwise, the flow is fine, and for its first couple of uses, I have no complaints. I still have very heavy reservations about its long-term use as you start to have paint passing parts and the O-rings start to fail. Arguably, solvent paints will speed up the process, but nowhere on the packaging, the instructions or any specs have I seen that it only recommends the use of water-soluble paints or outright bans solvents. I'm fairly indifferent to not enjoying it that much, more so awashed with being amused in how different and being an outdated and older way of spraying. Base coating is also fine. This model can be equipped with a 0.3, 0.35 and 0.5mm needle and nozzle. I can't tell if it's a 0.3 or 0.35, but a lot of internet listings of its branding, it does say 0.35. Another heavy disadvantage we're walking into is the dismantling and cleanup. Probably the best part is you can change the cap of the jar and keep the paint for future use, but the cleaning process is a lot longer as you have to siphon the rest of the paint out, clean out the jar, fill it up with thinner and do the standard cleanup process. The jet bubble technique does not work throughout the whole airbrush, as it will only mix thinner and paint in the jar and siphon itself. You will have to siphon and spray out more thinner more often. You can't also really access the insides to wipe out or inspect. This is also very common with siphon fed and not necessarily special to this model. You can also see that I'm fairly biased to this assembly of airbrush, no disrespect to users who are fond or thoroughly enjoy it. By the third pass, only clean thinner is coming out and not staining the tissue, though with the jet bubble technique you can see the thinner is most definitely contaminated in the glass jar. The nozzle crown also has a little bit of paint on the inner walls and needs to be cleaned out with a Q-tip soaked in thinner. As I won't be using it again, I'm putting it in long-term storage and flushing it out a final time. As per my spray patterns, the results are fine, smooth enough, but you can see with the dots, S's and shapes, I really struggle with the bottom heavy and clunky weight at the end. These are generally just designed for base coating and nothing too special. Maybe a little bit of shading and fine work in the pinch if you don't want to change airbrushes or don't own anything else. I'm also not too sure, unless it's a price factor, why many larger distributors choose this airbrush over the gravity feed Heising that is on offer. Looking at large wholesaling websites such as Alibaba, AliExpress, Taobao, the price between a gravity feed and a siphon feed is only the difference of a couple of cents to a fraction of a cent. Suppliers and product managers pairing these parts together and selling them are really doing the environment, communities and people buying these products a disservice, that they immediately need to discard it and spend more money to get an airbrush just to have a product that's a little bit cheaper than their competitors online or another major shop. With a smaller margin, you can even argue that it would be the same price. It is also very possible that the parties that are packaging and selling this has little to no knowledge on airbrushing or ever used or experienced these products. If you wish, it is worth playing around with it, especially if you get it for free or someone's trying to trade it. But if you happen to come across this secondhand at a swap and sell online, eBay, it is not worth purchasing at all and is best avoided. If you're a complete beginner and buy one of these packages, discard it and get something slightly better for your learning experience and general enjoyment of the hobby. Other than that and being an absolute waste of these not being mass used, I have nothing else to add to this airbrush. Thank you very much for watching, and as always, until next time, stay tuned for further content and we'll catch you guys next time. See you later.